The Bab, which was the originator of that religion, of Baha'i religion, he announced, before the birth of Meher Baba, he announced the imminent arrival of the avatar, and he foretold it. And my understanding, after having done my own research and reading a lot, because essentially the Baha'is claim the same thing as we are. They say he's the avatar, the awaited one, Baha'u'llah. And my feeling, this is all just me from Chicago, you know,
We love you.
that the Bab was in fact playing the role, if he had been the perfect master, had been playing the role of what John the Baptist played for Jesus. He announced the imminent arrival of the avatar, and he himself was a prominent, well-known, person in the community, spiritually speaking. And then after he passed on, there were a number of people that came forth within the Baha'i community with that quote unquote claim. And Baha'u'llah, I believe, had a revelation in the prison or something that he was that. So once he came out of the prison, then he started the following, and sort of continued the religion. But anyway, my feeling was that I don't, obviously Baha'u'llah was born, I think, whether he was born after Meher Baba, I'm not sure. But anywho, that's what might have happened, because, Baba did meet with the head of the Baha'is in Iran during his first visit to Iran. One of the head of it says in Lord Meher, the head of the Baha'is came to see Meher Baba to basically say, what are you doing? I am the one, or something like that, or my master is the one, whatever he was going to say. And as soon as he got to Baba's presence, he fell and kissed his hand and said, now I have seen God. This too is recorded in Lord Meher, I believe. So anywho, if anybody knows more information, I'd love to hear more, but that's what
That's exactly what I was trying to hear, because I haven't been able to get Lord Meher, and I really appreciate you telling me that.
Leighton, Lord Meher is online. Just Google Lord Meher online, and you will get to the newest version online. And if you want the original version, it's in the Meher Baba Trust website. I'll put that on the chat box.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Farishte, the first one, the Bab, he was the one that was the perfect master, and the other one was on the fifth plane. That's what I.
Yeah.
Leighton, it sure is good to have you here.
Better late than never.
Good morning.
Hey, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes.
Jai Baba.
Rakesh is around here somewhere, and
yes, Chef, I'm here. Jai Baba, everybody. Good morning.
Jai Baba.
I just wanted to say one thing to you, Rakesh. Can you send me the information about getting on your group in case I can do it tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Morning.
Yes. I will send it to you. I'll email it to you.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be perfect.
I don't know if I can, but it'd be nice to see you folks.
You'll manage. You will be there. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah.
Well, Larry, you've been very quiet tonight.
I know. I don't know why.
Are you preparing for Silence Day?
Everything's fine.
Good. No, I thought maybe you're just getting that moving towards Silence Day silence thing.
No, very relaxed. Very relaxed.
All right.
Yeah. Sing the choir in the middle of the storm in Phoenix.
I love that Begin the Begin story because I remember you telling one.
I have lots of Begin the Begin stories. You know, I was once preparing to go to India. This is a very simple one. And I was trying on a new pair of pants in a dressing room in a store. And I was thinking to myself, boy, I must be crazy. I keep going to India. Am I really supposed to be doing this? And then Begin the Begin began playing. And I thought, okay, I'll go. Simple little stories. But Baba's always there, letting you know he's there.
Straight to the heart.
There were a Baba people that got in a terrible automobile accident, even though they came out unscathed. But they rushed to the other car because they were very concerned about what happened to the other person in the other car. And when they got there, the song Begin to Begin was going on in the guy's car radio. And the person was fine. That's the kind of lovely thing that happened.
Mr. Al has his hand up. Go ahead, Al.
I just wanted to say that I know for sure that Baba had said that Ramakrishna played the role of John the Baptist in this incarnation. And I saw recently, it was always the question of who played the role of Mary in Jesus' life. A lot of people think it was Mary Magdalene, but I think it was actually his mother Mary. There were two other Marys in his life, but I think there were three Marys with the crucifixion. But I think that role of Mary was played by his mother Mary and not Mary Magdalene. That's all.
Yeah.
Thanks, Al.
And Jeff, didn't Norina reincarnate? Do you remember that? That's somewhere. I read that, where Baba had a baby and said, "Look who's back."
Well, we know who Norina reincarnated as.
Right. He owns a car dealership in Pune or something. Somebody told me.
No. He's a professor up in Eastern Carolina University.
Really?
In fact, he was on the board of the center. We got him on the board of the center because as Norina, he helped develop the center. And so he came back and was on the board for a while. But he grew up in Ambanath, part of Erich's family. Merwin.
Well, somebody must have gave me a wrong story, but I thought I knew Baba had dictated who it was. I didn't know exactly what they were doing.
Of course, Baba mischievously also in communication to Norina said, which baffles my mind, he says Norina is in the circle, the first 9 circles, in each of the first 9 circles. Don't ask me what that means.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You must be dizzy.
I can comment on the circles just real quick.
Sorry, what?
And I don't know if anyone's really read the Tiffin lectures. I'm sure it's more for like the male Mandalay back in the day. It talks a lot about the inner circles and things like that. It says one thing that's interesting, I just wanted to mention. In every circle, there's 11 members, I think, including the master. And in the circle, it says something like 6 of them attain God realization. The other 5, I'm not sure, something else. But then one of them in every circle ends up dying or something like that. It says they just die. And it says that they don't attain God realization. But everyone who's in the circle is supposed to achieve God realization no matter what, except for that one person.
Hmm. Very interesting.
Yeah, my husband Larry read them, and he said he couldn't remember if they leave the circle or if they just leave the circle or if they die.
Yeah, it's very vague about what happens to that one person.
Yeah, if I could pin Larry down, you could have a great conversation with him, Leighton. But he walks through the house. I can't grab him.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions?
Oh, I was going to ask for jokes.
Oh,
What are they going to do for Silence Day? You're going to do everything in silence?
yeah,
Are you going to have arty in silence?
yeah.
No, we're going to have the RT and then just some things on YouTube. Jeff, one of Jeff's things is going to be there.
Really?
I think so. Sorry, Jeff.
You just put everybody on mute. That's all you. Um, let's see. Anybody have any questions? Is it Semine? How do you pronounce your name?
It's Samin.
Samin. Samin.
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
Right now, I'm just listening and absorbing.
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
You know,
Jai Baba.
sometimes what we've talked about is the things that keep the attitudes we have that keep Baba at a distance.
Okay.
You know, like one of the major things is feeling unworthy. You know, I can't live this life. I know I'm not as loving as Bob would want me to be, and so we kind of project all the disapproval that we've kind of felt in the course of our life. We project that on Baba, and he's over there, uh, you know, looking at us with a slight disapproval, which is not the case. But those are types. There are a lot of different attitudes that we have that keep Baba at a distance. But any types of things that you've seen in yourself where you put Baba at a distance.
Yeah, Jeff, I remember the first time I heard you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you said offer everything to Baba, I think that really rang a bell. So I do feel there are so many emotions coming up every time. There are so many thoughts coming up. And really, thanks to you, I've started offering them all to Baba. And all the limitations and all the boundaries and all the judgments and all the thoughts, I'm that's exactly what I'm doing
Yeah.
from the day I heard you speak about it and how to go about it. Because when I hear all of you, there is so much of love and there is so much of warmth and there's so much of emotion involved. And I think to myself, I don't feel any of that. I am here since with Baba since I don't know when. And I still don't feel those emotions that you all feel. So then I started offering my judgments and my limitations and the boundaries to love, and, all the shortcomings and all the good, bad, and the ugly to Baba. So the process is on, so I don't know where he'll take me.
No, that's the beautiful thing to do. I'll tell you I'll tell you something that Baba brought home to me about comparing yourself. You know, you look at these other people and they seem to be more loving and they're doing fine and feeling Baba so strongly. But here's what Baba conveyed to me. I was at Baba's house here in Myrtle Beach, and I was raking outside the front entrance there where the screen porch is. And it was just a nice sunny afternoon, and I was just raking by myself. And Baba flashed this to me with this. I wasn't thinking of anything in particular, and Baba flashed this to me in a millisecond, and I knew exactly what he was saying with a sense of humor. And this is what he said, putting it into English. Nobody can love me the way you do. And then there's a pause, better than you do. No one can love me the way, no one can love me the way you do, better than you do. Because you're the only one that can love him the way you do. No one has your flavor. You follow? You can't. He can't find. He can't find the love anywhere in the universe that's like yours. Does that make sense? I mean, he did that with
Yeah.
the sense of humor. I could take the first part of that. No one can love me the way you do. What? Baba, what are you saying? Better than you do. So he made
Right.
kind of. I could have fallen for the first part of it, but he paused there.
I'm still trying to figure out what love is.
Yeah. Well, I think if you try to love, that is love. Even trying to love is love.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Sometimes you know all these things intellectually, but when it comes to, I don't know, it's all in the mind. You have all these glorious thoughts, and maybe that's the first step for it to enter
Yeah.
the heart. So,
One of the things, I mean, I've mentioned before, one of the things that Erich brought home to me when I was young is bring your consciousness from being up in your head down in
yeah,
your heart area.
yes,
You can feel how the emotions register on your body.
right,
And if you keep your consciousness down there, you get out of the world of thoughts. You don't have many thoughts if you're at the heart level. But it's hard to stay down at the heart level because the mind wants to say, hey, how come you're feeling that?
yeah.
So then you're up in your head,
It's going back and forth.
Yeah. So if you can stay permanently at the heart level, it is a much fuller, more expansive life. And that's what
Right.
Eric encouraged,
Thank you.
Yeah. And that's where, yeah, Bob was very close to that place.
We're all hoping he brings us there. Or
But
he is there and we get there.
yeah, all the efforts we make
Yeah.
mean the world to Bob. But any ways that you find, I mean, any of you that you find that you've kind of keep Bob at a distance sometimes? What kind of experiences? I mean, I don't.
Actually, it's more the comparison, I think.
Yeah.
When I see everybody and I say, wow, to be able to feel and think like that and to be able to have that, it must be something else. And you're not happy with what you are and what you have.
Yeah.
And you're always looking out and thinking, oh my God, that's amazing to be radiating that love.
I would say you radiate that love, but you don't see yourself through our eyes,
Yeah.
I'm sure people are saying the same thing about you, Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
What
That's the biggest shortcoming.
what about you, Larry? Anything that comes to mind?
Well, Baba said you have to wake them up. And so when I feel a little dry, I just imagine Baba asleep within me and I have to wake him up. And so I started inventing things to do to wake him up. Like every hour, wake up, Bob, I need you. Don't sleep now.
Yeah.
And eventually he wakes up. Very mysteriously, he wakes up. And then everything goes on well, and then all of a sudden he'll take a nap and I'll get after him again. But I like that image of Baba sleeping in me. When I don't feel his presence, he's just sleeping.
Yeah.
And I can poke him with my mind and say, get up. I need you, Baba.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So there is something I have to do, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's even in Christianity, you know. In the book of Philippians, it says that you should be filled with the Spirit. Speak to yourself in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs. So it's a matter of speaking to yourself, speaking to the sleeping Baba. Sing songs to him, read him poetry. Have your own arti.
Yeah.
Another fun thing I like to do is, since they have the 2-minute samadhi in India live, I like to go in there. And sometimes I don't like the music. I just shut it off. I put Cat Stevens on and I listen to some of my favorite songs with Baba. It's one of the ways to wake him up.
Yeah.
That's just my little trick.
Yeah. Beautiful. No, all these different ways that people come up with to remember Bob are beautiful. Yeah.
Would it be cool if I just said something real quick? I'm going to leave you guys to it. I just think there's, you know, we've been alive for a long time in many bodies, and for a long time, most of us, you know, sometimes we might have known Baba in other forms. We might have, you know, it just takes a long time in this life, especially to unlearn all of the baggage from all the other lives. And I hear you loud and clear. I used to be there in the same spot where, you know, I hear other people and their conviction, and it can be a struggle, but it's the right kind of struggle. Like Jeff said, you know, as long as you're trying to reach out, that is love for Baba. You know, there's nothing much else you can do but just yearn and yearn for union. And, you know, that's all he really requests of us, is just our love for him. So, thank you guys.
Yeah. Beautiful, Leighton. Yeah. I mean, even say, Samin, even if you want to, if someone's talking and you want to give them a piece of your mind, but you restrain from doing it, that is love, even though it doesn't feel that great. It's no, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be this flow, you know, just holding your tongue when you could lay into somebody verbally. That's a frustrating experience, but that can be love. You know, it's not necessarily always joy or a joyous heart. One time I was with Mara, and Mara was on her porch. Have you been to Marazad? Yeah. Anyway, she was saying goodbye to somebody who was going back to the West, this woman. And I was just saying goodbye for the day because I was going back to Marabad. And this was at the end of the pilgrim day. And she was there and she said, she was telling this woman, you know, take Baba back, take him with you. He's always there. But then she said, sometimes we feel very empty and depressed, but we know Baba wants us to be cheerful, so we make efforts to be cheerful. So inside I thought, oh my God, she radiates so much love, but she says she, you know, sometimes feels empty and depressed. And I thought, she's been with Baba all these years. She's been next to the source of love. how could she not have a joyous heart all the time? You know, warm, filled with Baba. And so inside I thought, I was young and I thought, love must be something different from what I thought. And after that, I never felt bad if I would sometimes feel empty or somehow, you know, however I feel, I don't, those are just like the emotions, the moods passing through me. They're like they're like the seasons, you know, or they're like a weather system passing through, but love is behind it all. But it used to be, because I felt, boy, if I'm not feeling this richness in my heart, back then I thought, oh my God, what did I do? I dropped Baba, I let go of him somehow. But after that, I never felt bad if I felt empty or, you know, bored or whatever, because those are just the weather systems that are passing by, but we are the atmosphere that the weather systems are slowly passing through. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Baba once said to Arnavas, one of his women mandali, I didn't ask you to feel me, I asked you to love me. So that's something to ponder. I didn't ask you to, see, you and I could say, suppose you and I are really depressed right now, and we hear someone screaming down on the street below. We would just get up and run down and see what the trouble is, you know. So maybe someone had an accident. So our act of love was not dependent upon our mood. Does that make sense? So the love is behind it, even if you're feeling empty or so-so. It's not a bad sign. You know, like a lot of groups they want to keep you in the springtime of moods, but you can't stay in the springtime. You know, spring has to give way to summer, and summer gets oppressive and high humidity. But then in the fall, you don't have to stay in summer because you move into the fall where things cool down. And then you come into winter where everything has died back, at least in our climate, it dies back. But you can't keep your emotions and your moods in springtime. You won't be able to do it. If Mara can't do it, we're not going to be able to do it. That's the way I feel. Does that make any sense, Larry?
Yes, it's very good advice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
An up and down
Jai Baba.
situation.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
can always wake them up, try to wake them up
Yeah.
in the That's what I always do.
No, I believe that is a very good thing. Now,
Yes.
what is your name, Reno? Uppo? No. Huh. Anyway, yeah. Prakash, what do you say over there?
Not much. I mean, what you said is so beautiful. And I think I just remembered what we happened to read in the sessions on effort and grace, where Darwin says one of the chief problems that many Baba lovers have is that they feel small. You don't have to feel small, feel big, and you know, you just can imagine where you want to be and operate from there. And I like that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Baba said to some dancer who felt that I'm not doing my best. And Baba said, why can't you think that you're the best dancer in the world?
Yeah.
And just do it. But not get attached to the, you know, that thought that you are, and then start developing this strange ego that boosts you. So I think I like that, and feel big. Yeah. Be big everywhere and then keep going. Yeah. I mean, I have limitations. Remember, I can tell you about the limitations I had. Once I was there at the center with one of my friends, and you were there, and we were in the barn or someplace, and everybody's sharing something. And I think you sang a song and somebody else did something else. And then it was our turn. And I was so shy along with my friend. And I hated to be in public and do anything together. I mean, I am talking right now, which is, to me, I feel I crossed that limitation. But then at that moment, I just couldn't get myself to sing. And then you encouraged me saying, look, Prakash, sing Arti. And I said, okay, let me sing Arti. Even while singing Arti, I'll just keep looking at the roof and keep singing. And then at that time, I don't exactly recall the words you had, but then you said something like, look at the things around, or we are not going to eat you or something, and something like that, something like that you mentioned. And that runs in my mind all the time whenever I feel this negative thing wherein I feel, oh God, I mean, there's so many people out there. I don't know if I can say something. And slowly, it took a while, but I did work on that. And then now I'm here speaking to you all of you.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, the point I'm trying to make is be where you want to be in your mind, and it'll happen ultimately.
Beautiful. Yeah. The number one fear in America, we know this, is stage fright.
Yeah.
Greater than all the other, even fear of death is not as as fearful as public speaking.
Yeah.
Stage fright.
But I thought, I mean, I see a lot of Americans, I mean, when I come to the center and then around the place here, I mean, you guys are much more better endowed with the quality of speaking, and then you're not afraid to speak your mind and that kind of thing. But back where I come from, a lot of folks, particularly in the state where I come from, Telugu speaking state, everybody wants to do something, but they just can't get themselves to say it. I mean, that kind of, that happens. And I think having been in the US for a reasonable time, I have learned to say it out. Don't be afraid. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
And I should say thanks to
Jeff,
you.
Oh,
Jeff, but
yeah.
isn't stage fright, it just develops because of fear or ego? I mean, because of fear is like, somewhere when you start getting in your teens, it just, I mean, very subtly creeps inside. Because what I did with my kids is like, whatever they should fear of, I made them go and do those kind of things. So, before the fear could come in, they already was done with it, like little by little, like breaking all those barriers and the fears. Like even in this, for the stage, I just used to go tell them. I mean, there was an age before when they were 12, when this starts actually settling down, to go sing on the stage, go give a talk. And I mean, in at Merabat was the best platform. They never sang in the school because they didn't get an opportunity, but they never developed that stage fright.
Beautiful.
And yeah, and that is one part of it. A lot of more things, to do, like, go shopping themselves, and go sit anywhere, and sleep anywhere. So today, they are so used to it that they can just go, and all that fear that comes in, we sit and talk about it and try and break it. So
Yeah.
I mean, so that's
Yeah.
how we do, like.
Yeah, you
And
did a beautiful thing, really,
yeah,
to get help them get beyond one of the major fears of life, stage fright.
Yeah.
Especially at an age where there's an age where the sense of adventure is greater than the fear of disapproval, of, of goofing up on front of everybody, of
Yeah.
humiliating yourself.
So, like you said, adventure. So, like I said, I mean, instead of getting fear inside, no, get adventure in it, and it doesn't really matter if you fail. I mean, it doesn't work out. So, but you just keep going on. You just keep practicing, and every time you go, you just get better and better. So, there's nothing like failure or things don't work out, because even actually what you work for, it fails, but you are not at the same place where you started. You move forward, and even I try to get this in. There could be many times when you need to keep practicing, to get to the final result, which result doesn't matter. I mean, like Baba says, you start experiencing that moment, that minute, and enjoy that instead of thinking for the past and the future. Just forget it.
Yeah.
Past is all gone, and future, you leave it to me, otherwise I'm here for. And just enjoy the present, the experience, the joy, the adventure of
Yeah.
doing whatever you are doing.
Yeah. And some people never overcome that fear. And
Yeah.
they've never had any help. And then once you're a grown up, you have so many associations of having avoided facing your fears that it becomes, huge, becomes a monster, unless, you circumstances get you to try to face it. You know,
Yeah.
I know when I was in high school, there were some of the women that were very shy, and but I noticed one of them that was very shy. I saw her with her first child, and um, someone was making it difficult for her and her child to get somewhere, and she had no shyness. When she had her child, she had no shyness. She just, you can't do that to my child. We need to be here. And I was surprised at how assertive she could be, because she had this love for her child that gave her a tremendous courage that she did never had in school, you know.
But I think, like you said, Jeff, some traits they linger on because I guess our basic setup when we are born, whatever the mold from the previous life has been, and that will continue to be the basis on which a person operates. So we may get rid of a whole lot of it, at least in my experience. Some part of it still lingers on.
Yeah.
And you may drive some 60% or 40%, I mean, whatever number away, but the traces are still there.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's really self-acceptance.
Right.
Is rather, there's a perfectionism that
right.
the mind subjects us to. But self-acceptance, you don't have to. You could feel completely fulfilled and still have stage fright.
Yeah.
Because if you accept the fact that you have stage fright, and and don't think that you're less for having stage fright, then you could. I mean, for example, I always think of this. Baba's Mara had a fear of heights, and I was young, and so when she went up Seclusion Hill with Baba, she had up the higher part. She had to crawl on her hands and knees, you know. But what I noticed, and I was young at the time, that she didn't have any problem with that. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, I've still got a fear of heights. I've got to overcome this fear of heights. She accepted that as a limitation in her,
Right.
and it didn't diminish her.
Yeah.
She was still fulfilled because we're going to fall short on in so many ways.
Now,
Uh,
I can narrate once, sometimes I feel we have to pay attention to things that are really small in our lives. Yeah, it's silly, but I suddenly felt like sharing this with everybody here. I played tennis with some people around here, and we always fall short of number of people to play with. So we went up with odd number like a 3.
yeah,
So the better guy who can run around and hit the ball well stays at one place, and then I have one guy with me, and that's a setup. and and it so happens I used to feel a little odd and awkward and not even happy about it, and the ball would just keep shuttling between the better guy who is in front and the guy next to me who also is a slightly better player. I'm not as uh, you know up there like those guys. And then the ball would just keep on going between them, and I'm here like a dumb brick watching the things happen. And then I used to feel so upset and angry and things like that. And at times I felt like I should go and tell them, but I didn't have the courage to do that. But then suddenly a thought occurred to me that I suddenly started to imagine that there's Baba there and there's Baba there and I'm also one of them. I'm also, a form of Baba. And that seemed to help a little bit. But even then, didn't work after some time. And slowly, I had to keep working on it. What I meant to say was the small things in life teach you the best lessons. And then slowly and slowly, I figured that I learned to be happy by seeing the game going on well. And it took time.
yeah,
But then now I'm at ease with myself, no matter what happens. And lo and behold, with that thing in my mind, with all the time passing, now suddenly I felt I'm also equally participating, unlike the earlier experience I had. So it's as if I'm also getting to play just like the other guys. Sometimes it just helps to think slightly differently and the perspective in our minds. And and you'll start seeing things change themselves. And that sort of thing happened.
yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's so personal, so, crazy. All this real happiness was out of the window at some point for me whenever I was on the court, tennis court. But then I had to work on it, 6
yeah,
months, 1 year, and then now I'm at ease and I have no problem. So
yeah,
that sort of thing. Yeah.
yeah. And you can use that same
Yeah.
insight,
Yeah.
that experience you have for all these other situations in life.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. No, and I think Baba just delights in watching our little bits of progress as we try to deal with these challenges. It is infinite entertainment for Baba.
That's right. I think participating in Effort and Grace really helped me also quite a bit. I'm now trying to let things flow if I can.
Yeah,
And at least the thought is there, and that helps,
yeah,
feeling that you want to do something and let it flow, not block it. And that thought comes, I keep blocking a number of times, the failure rate is high, but then slowly, I know I'll get there.
yeah. Sometime we're going to come into it in the book Effort and Grace about this inner current, this invisible current that's in each of us. And that's a whole beautiful subject, to be aware of this invisible current that emanates from your heart and to be able to strengthen that so that the flow of that can flow actually through everything.
Yep.
And not stop when there's a negative reaction to some situation or some person. We continue to flow through our reaction with this inner invisible current.
Right. Like you said, the key is that being aware that you want to let it flow. And
Yeah.
once you become aware, you can see things happening, I suppose.
Yeah, it's possible to react and flow at the same time.
Same time, right?
Just
Exactly.
like it's possible to walk and chew gum at the same time. It done. Rather than the consciousness and the flow just get stopped every time we have a negative, even a negative thought can stop the flow.
Yeah.
A negative emotion, even in ourself, and to even flow through those things. Oh, I shouldn't be feeling that way. I feel jealous. I shouldn't feel jealous. And so the flow just stops at the jealousy, and we shrink down to the size of jealousy rather than be the large person that we are.
You know, Jeff, this process of giving comes a long way in this thing. And, you know, these days, whenever I have anything negative coming to my mind, or I feel like something odd that's happening, then I have just learned to just snip it in the bud by just giving it to Baba, and then boom, just give it to him. You know, that thought comes. But I mean, giving it to him means that you will be doing less of it. I don't know if I'm doing less of it, but at least the thought I'm giving it to him, I think will ultimately reduce the number. I mean, you know, will have some impact in some way. And that really has become a habit for me now, in the sense almost all the time, mostly negative ones, but then I've now tried to even think about the positive ones. You know, you take it, you take it. Yeah. I don't know what it means really, giving you take it, but at least I like the thought.
Yeah, and he receives, you know, he receives everything you give him, and whatever you give him, that layer of what you give to him is gone forever. Yep. But there's a layer behind it that looks just like the one you gave him. So it looks like no results, but you give him that layer, and then you go on, and it's like peeling off an onion. Yeah. And eventually the onion's a lot smaller. After many years, the onion is a lot smaller. How did that happen? And as you give things to Baba and he dissolves them, the most important thing is it makes more room and space for him to live in you, so that he can start to live inside of you and you become more of a shell.
I think you feel lighter. I mean, you know, you're not burdened in your mind, and things seem to, I mean, you just accept things as they happen and then do the best, at least to the extent you can. I mean,
yeah. So there's a Pallavi. Pallavi?
Are we on mute?
Jai Baba, Jeff.
Good.
Yeah, I unmuted just now. Yeah. Jai Baba.
How are you doing?
I was really, I'm good, Jeff. I was just taking a walk around my building, and I just saw this message and this, you know, this talk happening. So I just thought of, you know, sort of joining in, and it's a nice surprise. The climate here is quite pleasant. It's not raining, but it's not very hot as well. So it's a perfect moment for some Baba talk, you know, and I'm really enjoying the conversation that is happening here.
We're just, we're nothing structured here. I mean, are you in Mumbai?
Yeah. I'm in Mumbai. Yes.
Any questions?
So I was just, you know, while all this discussion is happening, I was just, you know, this thought came to my head that, you know, it's not entirely related to Baba, but you know, you can still link it though. That, you know, I live at home, I work from home, I don't interact much with people. But for some reason, after this coronavirus has come up, this pandemic has started, so many Zoom meetings are happening, and so much of discussion is happening. It's as if, I'm with Baba all the time, so it's a selfish thought that this coronavirus should continue for some more duration, so that there are more and more talks of this kind that happen, and I'm always in conversation, at least always, listening to something about related to Baba. And I would say that I usually go on YouTube and listen to um, the Circle of Friends. I don't exactly remember the
Yeah.
name now, but yeah. So I just love the conversation happening over there. And so many stories are repeated, and then, they sort of, they get emblazoned in your heart. And, so many questions are answered without you actively asking a question.
Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying this phase
Yeah.
thoroughly, Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Erich was once asked, is Baba going to become a religion? And Erich said, Baba was adamant that it not become a religion. And this friend of mine said, how can we keep it from becoming a religion?
Mm-hmm.
And Erich said, if his lovers would get together in small groups and share their mystical experiences, it could be avoided. Meaning, he used, this was in early 70s, so he used the word mystical, but if his lovers get together and share their inner experiences with Baba, that, because you can't, if everybody has a different experience of Baba, you can't
Right.
make a religion out of it. You
Correct.
can't make a code of conduct or anything because everybody has such a unique experience. And that can keep it from being becoming like an organized religion.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
these type of things of getting together, and we
yeah.
all have a different, camera angle on Baba.
Yeah, true that, true.
It
Yeah,
amplifies our, when I hear different way that people relate to Baba, it
yeah,
expands
yeah.
my way of relating to Baba.
True, true. And
Yeah.
sometimes, it has so happened that I have been having this conversation with Baba, and sometimes I write short poems of whatever is, whatever I want to say to Baba. And it so happens that, I use a specific word, and I go to YouTube or I go to any Zoom conversation happening, and those words get repeated. So it makes
Yeah.
me feel really good, that all of a sudden I use a word like anchor in my poem, and that is the day when this word would be repeated again and again by a speaker. So it sort of gives me a very good feeling, that, as if I'm resonating with something which is, I don't know, I feel a connection to Baba in that way.
Yeah.
And I think just now Prakash said that, all the daily small little things that happen, and when we bring Baba into it, sometimes you start looking at things with a totally new perspective, and I joined at the point when you said that, when a conversation is happening and somebody is, it's like an argument happening, and you really want to say something, you want to lash out, and still you don't do it. It's a kind of a love. So this is exactly what I was, sort of mulling over in the morning today, that there was a conversation that happened with someone, and I wanted to give my peace of mind, but I sort of, stepped back, that let me not, let me not, let there be harmony. Let me not get too entangled into this conversation and say something which I would later on regret. And however, I am a very vocal person. I wouldn't like to, sort of cut back on my words or bite back my words. I would like to just give my peace. So there was a struggle happening inside me, that I'm not being true to myself. I I did not I let the other person walk all over me, and I did not answer or give a proper reply. And just the next day, there was a message, on Baba group, which said that, I tolerate a lot of things. I am tolerant towards a lot of things, so even you should be tolerant. And then there is I'm not, I'm just telling you the essence of the message. I don't
Yeah.
remember the exact words,
Yeah.
but it said, the message said that, that when you are filled with rage and you want to lash out, you know, you just stop yourself, because you have to say that I'm here for Baba and I'm here for harmony. and that sort of, centered me down so much. And all the simmering and all the anger that I was feeling, and the frustration that I was feeling, it just, sort of just flew out, and it was just flowed out of my
Yeah.
consciousness, which felt very good. So I think, we have to always keep, like on the laptop, we have the screensaver. So Baba has to be the screensaver in our lives. We have to always see everything from the perspective of how Baba wants us to lead our lives. And for whatever reason, this pandemic, it has slowed things down a lot. And we are in a phase where we can actually, step back and observe things, observe ourselves, witness what is happening around us. So it's a great opportunity, and I think we are really grateful that we have Baba to give us some anchors. Well, I think I'm just rambling on. I'd better stop now.
No, no, what you're saying is true. And one of the things that the Mandali would talk about is get some space between your consciousness and your reactions,
Yeah.
so that, so you don't just go right into the reaction. You've got some options there. You
Yes.
can wait
Yes.
to see if love has a response rather than just
Right.
going with the reaction of the sanskar, as you might say.
Yeah.
And over more and more, you get some inner space, so that
Mhm.
you're not just a victim of your mood
Right.
and your
Right. Right.
impulses and everything.
Right.
You can hold off on some of these things.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
a line
Uh,
that Baba
yeah.
told Arnavas. He said,
Right.
it is nothing to give in when you are wrong, but it has spiritual value to give in when you are right.
Yeah.
Think
That's
about that.
beautiful.
That's a
Yeah.
terrible,
Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunate
I
thing.
know it's.
It's
Yeah.
nothing to give in when you are wrong, but it has
Mm.
spiritual value to give in when you are
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
another thing that I would like to share, Jeff. Sorry, I interrupted you.
yeah,
Uh, I would like to share is that nowadays when I have the feelings of resentment or jealousy or anger or any sort of a negative emotion, and I want to sort of react on it. Because we keep talking about impressions all the time. That past impressions are what are sort of the driving factor for us to react on things. So somewhere the space that you're talking about, it really comes in now. I start thinking that my past impressions are urging me to feel resentful, are urging me to feel jealous, are urging me to, or are pushing me to think in a particular manner. And these are just past impressions. If I start thinking about Baba, if I start taking Baba's name, these impressions will not have as much hold as they have.
yeah,
So this small tiny thought does enter now when I'm into a mode of getting into the resentment road, down the resentment road, or the anger or the jealousy. Immediately, maybe after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or maybe after a day, but it does set in at some point, and I sort of pull myself back. So which is a very beautiful thing, and I think it has happened because repeatedly these meetings are happening, and we are getting to listen to other people's stories, other people's perspective, and it is bringing a small shift, but tiny, small, whatever you can say. Still, the shift is happening. So, which I think we should be immensely grateful for. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
I mean, if you think of the heart as this big expanse, and I'm just speaking kind of metaphorically, the lower part of the heart are all the
Hmm.
negative emotions, lust, greed,
Hmm.
anger, resentment, jealousy, and everything.
Hmm.
At the higher side of the heart are the divine qualities that are pouring in. That's like generosity, patience, kindness, forgiveness. Those are all coming from the other dimension, and they come into our feeling, the higher feelings.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we're in the middle there. What are we going to go for? Are we going to go for the the negative impressions, or are we going to wait and see what love has to say? Love may say, be generous to that person, or give that person some patience, or forgive that person. That's at the deeper part, that
Right.
the higher part. And
Yeah.
and that's where, and those have their origin in our soul. And all the negative reactions, they create a unifying effect, a harmonizing effect, and then the negative emotions are always affirming separateness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're the ego.
Right,
The
right.
ego's got all the negative emotions on its side, and
Yeah,
those higher feelings, you know, of forgiveness and kindness and humor. Humor is a divine
right.
quality. It's not an
Yeah, yeah.
emotion. Generosity is not an emotion. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they are love that's refracted into us, pours into our feelings. You
Mm-hmm.
follow? So
Yeah,
we're in
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there. The more Baba can get some space there, so we don't just automatically go into a reaction, a negative.
Right, right, right.
So it's work,
Yeah.
but it's
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
but it is so fulfilling, really,
Yeah.
because it's not just a made up. It's a movement, you know,
Right,
from the smaller our smaller self to our larger self
right.
in consciousness. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
yeah. Sure.
I just suddenly, I mean, while we were talking, I just remembered one quote given by Dr. Wayne Dyer. I'm sure you guys know
Yeah,
about him. He would give lectures on, spiritual topics. And he quotes some, I don't know, some Costanet or somebody, I don't know the name. But then it's the same thing Gandhi said and so Baba said, but the way he put it was very nice. He says, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And sometimes the words, I mean, that's exactly what we hear from Baba, but then these words, suddenly
yeah,
make an impact. And the other quote he had was that uh, I'm trying to recall. Oh, if you change the way you look at things, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Just like how Gandhi said, be the change you want to see,
yeah,
things like that.
yeah. Exactly.
I just want to throw it out, but
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. What Wayne Dyer said, he was quoting Chardin.
Oh,
We're not. It's not so much that we are human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings
beings
having
having
a
a human
human
experience,
experience.
right?
What about Devya? Devya, what?
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah,
I want to tell you that I have been actually trying to get on to your talks. I've asked Rakesh, and he's kindly forwarded me. I'm so inspired by the way you speak. Seriously, I mean, I listened to two of your recorded talks over and over again, and I have a lot of questions to ask, but not today.
oh,
I want to.
don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. I might.
No, I'll have to write it down because I don't remember each and every thing that you said, like going from the mind to the heart to the soul. But the one thing that not bothers me, but I keep thinking about is Baba you said it all boils down to love at the end of it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Right? So even if you don't think with your head and you start thinking with your heart and feeling with your heart and you go into that heart space,
yeah,
it's very tough to let go of attachments, like people who have left and gone. And how do you deal with that? I mean, it's your heart. I mean, you tend to emote, you tend to feel. How can you control that? I mean, how does that work? You know what I mean? You do feel happy, you do feel sad, you want to go to that place where um you think of, I mean, you feel love, no doubt, but it's your heart, right? At the end of the day, how can you control that too? I can understand your mind, but how do you control your emotions?
well, I found this, and I don't know if this will make sense to you, but I found that by being wholehearted about things, I get a certain detachment. I tell you what I mean is, suppose I'm wholehearted about gardening and I really get into gardening, and then someone takes away my gardening. They can't take away my wholeheartedness. I can move that wholeheartedness to something else. I can turn that wholeheartedness on to music, you know, and then so suppose there's no forum for me to do music. I take my wholeheartedness to my grandmother, meaning
Right.
that wholeheartedness that can let go. I feel that people that are worried about being attached to things are actually more attached, I think, than those who are wholehearted. Does that make sense? I mean,
But more than things, I would say people, you
I
know,
think
more
people,
than things, I would say people, the people you
yeah,
love,
yeah. But if you're
you know, I
wholehearted,
mean, your mom, your dad, things like that. No, not
yeah, gardening or music or something, but
materialistic, you know. And I know when you're saying wholehearted, I mean, yeah, it's true. When I'm a jewelry designer, that's my profession. And when it's a form of my meditation when I get into my work, because I don't think about it. I'm so in it. I'm so engrossed in it. I'm so wholehearted. You know,
yeah,
that's fine. I mean, yeah, I can jump from there to something that I really enjoy and put my heart in that. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
yeah,
about people you lose in your life, people you love in your life. How do you jump over them? They've gone. They're not there. I know it's inevitable. But even then, you know, the emotions. How can you not think about them? How can you not feel for them? You know what I mean? How can I give that wholehearted to somebody else? I mean, I know you should, because you see Baba and everybody and you're supposed to love everybody the same way. But it's not easy. You know, it's definitely not easy. The way you feel for your mom, your dad, your brother, your, you know, whatever, your cousin, it's very tough to feel the same way for someone else.
yeah.
I mean, it's your heart.
Hi, can I share a personal experience regarding what you are asking about?
Good, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so hi, my name is Pari. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Divya.
Hi, Pari.
Divya, a few years ago, my Masi's son passed away on account of leukemia, and he was just 15. And within 4 days of him passing away, we had already pre-planned a trip to Mehrabad, mom and me. So we decided that we will do our mourning at Baba's feet.
Okay,
And
lovely.
as soon as we reached there, and my cousin, so in the town that we live in, our farmhouse is parallel to the railway tracks. So whenever my cousin would come over to our place, he would look out of the window every time a train would pass by. And he was very, very fascinated with trains, everything to do with trains. And when we were walking, you know, after he passed away, our first walk from MPR to Samadhi, we were about to reach the Samadhi, and just then we heard a train go by. And we felt that was his presence at Mehrabad. And then when we walked towards the Gadi, so you know, the flooring of the Gadi is done with cow dung. And my cousin also lived on a farm, and when he got the leukemia for the first time and he recovered, his grandmother would always tease him, saying, you know, I'm going to put a basket of cow dung so that you know, no evil eye affects you. So he was very amused by that, and he would keep mentioning that incident over and over again. And the second thing we noticed when we reached Mehrabad is when we walked towards the Gadi, the smell of the cow dung from that flooring was so strong. And again, we felt his presence even over there. So it is, yeah, you cannot pass on that wholehearted love to someone else because you're not meant to. You're meant to continue loving the person who has gone, but you need to love them in a positive way. You need to love them in a way where you know they have, you know, they are one lifetime closer to Baba, and you need to feel joy for that. And again, it's normal to feel sorrow as well, but you have to make a conscious effort and remind yourself that your love for them is, far less selfish, and you can be more selfless and see their passing away as moving forward. So at least like there are times when I do miss my cousin a lot, and I cannot pass on that love to some other person. No, that place in my heart will always bleed for him and him alone. But I feel as though I've handed
No, I
him
totally
over to
get
Baba.
where you're coming from. I understand that their presence is always there, but it's
Yes.
just the physical. I know that. I mean, I feel that, I understand that, but it takes time. I guess, everybody comes with a different set of impressions. Everybody's samskaric plan is different. And I know, I think I kind of figured out, I mean, I shouldn't say that, but I think I know what lessons I have to learn in this life. And unfortunately, it's not easy for me to learn them. So I'm presented with that opportunity again and again till I learn it. And I don't know why I'm not learning it, because I'm using my heart too much. You know what I mean? My heart is coming in too much. And then I say, why does Baba even give you a heart? I mean, why? I mean, sometimes I really laugh and I think, not in a bad way. I think I've asked this question in Cyrus and Soumya's class. What was God's plan of even creating Earth and doing all of this? I mean, what was it? Was it just a game? Was he bored? I always say, why was he really bored that he did all this, created all of us, gave us all these things, our karmas, our samskaras, again come back. What is his rigmarole? Why did he do this? Why did he do this? In my head, that's the question. I mean, really, why did he do this? I know it's the ocean and we are part of the ocean, and, there are many theories to this, but I sometimes like, why did he do this? Why did it get so complicated?
Yeah. I mean, we are eventually, when you were a child, you, a young child is pure and innocent and full of wonder. But the child doesn't really know how beautiful they are. And what happens is they go to school, and before long they can't even remember that state, and we have to get that state back. A saint eventually gets that state back, of that innocence and purity and wonder and everything. Well, it's like Baba. I mean, I kind of look at it like God was there, but he didn't know how beautiful he is. And as each of us, and we go through this whole process until we know how beautiful, how pure, how innocent we are. We become actually aware of it. A little child is not aware of its being, its beauty. And we are working our way back.
So this is what I say, Jeff, in class all the time. In fact, once in a while when I go for my Tuesday meetings in Mumbai, that when people say, how can we change the world, right? For me, the most important thing, and you hit the nail on the head by saying, is introducing a lot of spirituality and Baba talks or whatever it is from the day they are born. Because I feel exactly what you said, till the age of 2 or whatever, they're so innocent and pure. I mean, I'm telling you, I encountered Baba in 2013 when my brother passed on. But I really wish I had encountered, but that was Baba's way. That is Baba's wish. I had encountered Baba and had, read more or been introduced to Baba or something much earlier in my life, because I feel I would have dealt with situations much easier. It's never too late. But saying that, I feel if young children at the age of 2 are introduced with this spirituality, I think the world would be like the golden age. Because at the age of 9, what I have learned at the age of 50, they would know it all, and they would react, respond, everything would be different. Their whole makeup would be different. Yeah. And I feel the world would be such a beautiful place, a more beautiful place, not a beautiful place, a more beautiful place. And that's what I keep thinking. I don't know why when people, there's politics, there's economics, there's this, but there is no emphasis on this in schools and in education. That's the first thing they need to do. So it gets into it, it goes into them. They're imbibed by the values and everything taught to them, because they become that way. They don't think that way. They don't have feelings of, jealousy, anger. I'm sure they will have a bit of their karma and their samskaras to deal with, of course. But as somebody said earlier, that it would be less intense. It would be less intense, and they would deal with it better. And everything would be like an easier and a quicker process. That's what I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. When Baba came here to the center in 1952, one comment he made, which was surprised me, even in 52, I thought we were better at that time. But he said, not only is the youth of America not getting any spiritual instruction, they're not even getting any ethical training. I mean, that's how, I mean, this is you might say, the Kali Yuga. Baba said the Kali Yuga, it's 75% selfishness and 25% selflessness. In a golden age that you're thinking about, it's 75% selfless, 25% selfish. In other words, we're in the winter of the world. But you can't eliminate winter from the cycle of seasons, because you'll upset the whole balance. But one thing that Baba said during this time in the Kali Yuga, if you look at my gesture, Baba said in Kali Yuga, this much effort gives you this much progress. I'm spreading my arms out.
Oh, okay. Can't see them.
In a golden age, this much effort, and I got my arms out, in a golden age, this much effort gives you just this much progress. Baba gestured that.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
That's very interesting. We have a chance to grow at a time when we could just go with the drift with the ways of the world. We have an opportunity with the world kind of pulling us into its materialistic ways. We have a chance to remember Baba through this dark time, which is something great.
No, yeah, that's beautiful. I didn't know that about the progression, the karmic progression. I didn't realize that in Kali Yuga you could jump that much further.
Yeah, and it's never 100% selflessness, Baba said.
But the same point as I was saying, when you imbibe values, take Corona for example. I mean, I'm just talking about India. I find Indians very warm. I'm an Indian myself, but I don't find them disciplined as a race. If I was speaking to my cousin in Japan yesterday, and she said wearing masks there is a part of our culture. It's always been a part of a culture. So Corona disappeared much quicker. I'm not saying that in Bombay, people are not adhering and doing things. Of course, we all are making an effort. But if this was a part of our culture and we were introduced to this when we were 2 or 3 years old, be socially responsible, be more hygienic, be more clean, I think this would have resolved itself like 50% quicker. I mean, these are the things that really need to be taught to us when we are born, when we are in that, when we are like at the age of 2. So we understand it and really imbibe it and feel it and, think that way, start actually thinking that way.
No, you're right, exactly. But I mean, like this country here, we are not able to stop this because people refuse to wear masks.
Masks, yeah.
The Center for Disease Control saying if 90%, I'm talking about if 90% Americans would wear masks, they could save the lives of 30,000 people. It's that simple, but they won't do it. They don't want to wear masks, especially the young people. But this is where we're at. It's not like you're thinking of an ideal society, and we're stuck with winter weather. you know, where people are, where greed and you know, the greed is incredible. You know, the selfishness is very, it's not like you can just will yourself out of that.
Mm,
You know,
true.
it has to be a whole movement of the heart, you know. I mean, the racism in this country, it's not like, oh, well, we'll change the laws and you have to respect all the people of different uh, different races. It has to happen at a heart level.
Exactly.
And the heart, it moves about, if you ever, you know, move turn the course of an ocean liner in the ocean, is a very slow turn. You can't just turn like a speedboat. It's this huge, massive ocean liner. To turn the heart, to change the heart is very, Eric said this. He said spiritual progress. This is, you know, I mean, he was so knowing. But he said spiritual progress is very, 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 very
Slow.
gradual. Four varies.
Mm.
No American would stand for that. It's got to be very, very gradual. It may be very gradual, but not
Yeah.
four. Yeah, no, it's funny because, see, our hearts are developed. We know how we could be. We know how this world could be if only people had the love that we have in our heart. But how did we get? How did our heart get to this place?
Oh, definitely, Baba. Definitely.
Yeah, and many, many lifetimes developing and cultivating this love. And there are people that are just coming in from the animal kingdom. They can't just jump from the first grade or kindergarten to postgraduate. It's a very slow process.
Mm.
One room school.
Thanks.
We got,
Thank
well,
you.
yeah. Namita, I see, is there.
Shamin, you had a question.
Kashmira, I don't, Merakupa.
Shamin?
No, just I like the way he told about Erach and all that, no? The gradual process and all that, I liked it.
Yeah.
It's always wonderful to hear to you, Mr. Jeff.
Yeah. No, it's, but.
I would like to hear more from him.
Yeah. Well, I asked the Mandali all sorts of questions. I mean, I didn't hesitate. So, and I remember how they answered. So don't hesitate to ask any questions.
Sorry, Jeff, I
Jeff.
just wanted to ask you, do you come in every day? And like, how do we catch you on the Zoom meeting? What are your timings? Is there any particular program or something that you have?
No, it's just kind of serendipity.
Random? Oh,
Sometimes
okay.
Sometimes I come in on the RT. I'm actually at the center. I'm really at work. So
Okay.
if there's a phone call, I got to leave. But
No, Jeff is giving
yeah.
us a training of God realization. Like Baba said, I'll come anytime knocking to your door. You have to be ready. So randomly, he just comes online.
Yeah.
So it's always in the morning at 7 or evening, right? It's 7 in the morning or 7 in the evening, our Bombay time.
Yeah, Samadhi time.
Yeah, Samadhi
Okay.
time. I did get up. I come at 7 in the morning our time, which was the evening for you folks, or whatever, the late afternoon. Yeah. But no, we asked the Mandalay a lot of questions, and there are a lot of things that were very helpful to me, and and But the thing that I came away with is, from all the Mandali, is Baba loves and adores us. He enjoys our company. He absolutely enjoys our company. and we occasionally enjoy his.
I love the story you shared in the morning, and I think even yesterday you had told us about Baba saying, I mean, somebody came to meet him, and he came after a long time, and he didn't speak with that person. I don't remember the name who
Yeah.
came in the morning. You had said
That
it was
was
a beautiful story. I just
Sarosh.
loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, are these people, I see some names there, I don't know if they're there. I mean, I said this a little while ago, but you're all new. Here's the thing.
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Sorry.
Namita's there.
Namita here.
Yeah.
They all feel shy
Yeah,
to
good
switch
morning.
on the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's just
Oh,
it's morning time and I was in the middle of doing some stuff.
yeah.
But
Oh,
Jeff, the story that Rakesh is talking about, I'm sure must be a good story. So is it possible to repeat that
Yeah.
one? I mean, I joined in very late.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then
please.
yes, you can continue
Yeah.
with your train of thought.
So here, okay, here, I'll just get, we kind of project something onto Baba. He comes as a man, and we kind of think that he's still divine when he's down here. And so when Baba, say, for example, when in 1931 or 2, when they took that early film of Baba, he was in a sadra sitting outside behind Kitty Davies' house. And he just had this thin sadra on. But the people are so naive about Baba that they thought that, being God, he wouldn't be affected by the cold weather. I mean, this was in the winter that they filmed this, and Baba is just freezing there, but he has to act like, he has to act like it's not affecting him, because that's the way people wanted to see him at that time. So this is a story that's like that. Sarosh was one of Baba's Mandali. He grew up in Ahmednagar, and his cousin was Adi Keirani, and also a woman named Khorshid. They were both the Mandali. So he joined Baba when he was 18. And at 18, Baba gathered some of the men Mandali, and they walked from Ahmednagar all the way to Bombay. And a big bungalow was rented in Dadar, near Dadar station. and it was called Manzili Mim. And they had this, they lived there, the men. I think there may have been about 40 of them, and a very strict life
wow.
and training. Huh?
No, that's amazing, 40 of them.
Yeah, something like that. So, so after 9 months, Baba disbanded this first ashram, and he had an interview with each of the men, and to inquire what they wanted to do. They had a choice of staying with Baba, or if they wanted to continue their college education, they could do that. Or in the case of Sarosh, he was um, he was engaged to marry Vilu. Many of us met Vilu, and so Baba said okay, and he got married, and he moved to Nasik, and he had a business, the Chevrolet franchise up there. He's a businessman. And so this is their early years of their life as a married couple, getting settled in and everything. 2 years went by, and he came down to, I don't know where Bob was, maybe in Pune. Bob was in a bungalow. I'm relating this because he, in 1970, came to America, and he related this. It made a deep impression on me. So he came down to see Baba. So he comes there, and just a second here. So he comes there, and Bob is there in the bungalow and he's relating to all the men, and it's a kind of a lively situation. But Baba keeps overlooking Sarosh. You know, he responds to this person and then he responds to that person, and he just keeps missing Sarosh and doesn't acknowledge him at all. And a whole afternoon goes by, and Sarosh is like in grief. I mean, he's so hurt, you know, and finally he comes up to Baba and says to Baba, you know, I haven't, you know, I've been here all afternoon. You haven't acknowledged me at all. You know, I haven't seen you in 2 years. And Baba, uh-oh, I got a phone call coming. Just a second. Hey, I'll call you back, okay? Yeah. Ooh, it was later than I thought. So, right at the very moment. So, he says, you know, I haven't seen you in all these years. And Baba said, now you know how I felt all these years that you haven't come to see me. You know, so, but now you know how I felt all these years that you haven't come to see me. He feels all this much more than we do, but his ego doesn't get mixed up with it, but he still feels everything that we feel. I mean, there are a lot of inner things you discover over time. If you want to know how Baba feels, if you want to know how Baba feels in you, go to your deepest feelings in this moment. That's what Baba is feeling in you. He's not over there somewhere or up on high somewhere. He is right with you, feeling what you're feeling and sharing everything that you're feeling. Don't think that you're the only one that's feeling that. He is feeling it with you. If you're depressed, he's depressed with you. If you're happy, he's happy with you. He's there. He tracks us step for step. I don't know how he does it, you know, out of the, 7.5 million people, how does he do it? That's the difference between God and us, you know. Prophet Muhammad said, between you and me there are 49 veils. Between me and you there are no veils. So he's it's kind of like that one-way mirror, you know. He's watching us, and we look over at the mirror and we just see the reflection of ourselves. But Namita, did that make sense?
I think what you're referring to is, Baba, just specifically to the story, is it the human aspect of Baba, or there was, of course, what you said in the larger sense that we all have Baba within and he exists within us as our deepest feeling? That is what the story did. I really didn't understand what the story's meaning actually.
Well, meaning that Baba, Sarosh was missing Baba and felt the grief of Baba. He only had to experience it for an afternoon. How hurt he felt that Baba didn't acknowledge him. But Baba himself had felt that same thing for 2 years when he didn't come to see him.
So that is actually classifying it as the human aspect, Baba as being inhuman as human being, right?
Yeah. I've always been attracted to Baba the man. I know he's divine. I like his personality. I like his his human side.
Yeah, I guess the same goes for me too.
And then there's a very great intimacy in that.
Yes, it is.
He's not, up there on the seventh plane. He's right down here at the Mayor's Center.
No,
So when
as
you
far
come
as
to
you are concerned, and I have seen you, I've seen Jeff at close quarters working on the center, and there's really nobody like you.
Well, there's nobody like each one of us. We're all absolutely unique. And Baba loves the flavor of love that each of us has, which is entirely different. Mine is cinnamon, yours is nutmeg, Rakesh's is cumin, Samin is coriander, and he puts it all in one big soup. We're all flavors, irreplaceable flavors. I did say earlier where Baba said, no one can love me the way you do better than you do, for Baba, because I'm the only one that can love him this way. Samin is the only one that can love him that way. There's no one compare with how she loves Baba. And Baba just likes that flavor completely. So there's no comparison.
So Jeff, what was your first question you asked Eric Uncle? This must be long back.
You mean what? You mean that I remember?
Yeah. You remember? I mean, you had so many questions you just mentioned.
Yeah. I don't remember them chronologically. But here's one that I'll say this and then I better go to bed because after midnight. When I was young, this is back in the mid-70s, I said to Erich, and you've heard this, Rakesh, I said to Erich, what if I went out last night to a party?
Yeah.
And it was a wild affair, and I got drunk and had a wild time. And now this morning, I'm hungover, I have a headache, I feel miserable. I said to Erich, I don't want to burden Baba with this. I don't want to put it on him. I'm willing to suffer it myself. It was my own choice last night. I'm willing to suffer it. Does Baba want me to give him my hangover? And Erich says, yes. Give him your hangover. And the embarrassment of having such a meager gift to give your beloved will inspire you next time to have something more precious to offer. But always give to him whatever you're feeling deep down. And I said, Erich, but still, isn't that a burden to Baba? He said, brother, it is a greater burden to Baba to withhold anything from him than to throw on him the worst of yourself. That was emblazoned on my heart. It's a greater burden to Baba to withhold anything from him than to throw on him the worst of yourself. So, Baba has got the good, bad, and ugly of me, from me.
Wow.
But give him everything, and then you have a certain camaraderie. He likes all of our, he likes our garbage, and he likes our roses. Beautiful flowers, but he likes everything. When you love somebody, you share everything. You hold nothing back. Now, it's pretty hard to do that with anybody in this world, to share everything with them and hold nothing back. But thank God we've got Baba, somebody you can share and give everything to. and you don't have to worry about it being used against you. In fact, it'll be used for you. Yeah. So anyway, I am going to go, and you people, you just, sit back and do nothing, just read the Baba books and eat some popcorn.
Have some chai.
Have some chai. Yeah. Anyway.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Hey, Baba.
Thanks so much.
And
Thank
and
you
I will
so much.
email.
It was fabulous.